Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because it's like if I compare based on this data, when you have friends, they're like, "Ooh, I got this friend. I think you guys are a good match." So you almost have like this curated matchmaker in a way, right?
Hmm.
Where on dating apps or online, it's like you're shooting in the
You're on your
dark.
own.
You're hoping you find someone you're attracted to, right? You hope you find someone you're physically attracted to. You hope they're in the same phase of life,
Yeah.
and then you hope that your personalities match and you guys are
Values,
compatible in some
and they
form,
want the same
values,
thing. Yeah.
personalities. So it's like shooting in the
Yep.
dark, which I mean, which makes sense why there's like 10% of relationships come from dating
Yeah.
apps. And so I think we'll get to should you use them, later on, but yeah, I mean, I think this data kind of makes sense with how things are leaning. But that's all I got on that topic. I'm down to go to the next
Yeah. Let's
minute of
go.
the
Let's go.
video.
An article in Mashable a couple of years ago, quoting the editor of a trade publication called Global Dating Insights, says that the average dating site user has to swipe through 7,500 profiles before having a meaningful interaction. Now, that's not 7,500 before finding a girlfriend or boyfriend. That's just the amount of swiping needed to even have a meaningful human interaction with a person. And worst of all, because these apps require almost no effort and no investment and no energy to use, they only encourage more of the sort of meandering unseriousness that has already made the dating scene difficult and had made it difficult when I was single a decade ago. Swiping left and swiping right becomes more of a game, an end in and of itself. And the people who are on these apps actually looking for meaningful interactions, for relationship, for commitment, have to somehow sort through this sea of people who only want to hook up or maybe don't even want that. Maybe they want to keep swiping and have no real deep interest in human relationships at all. Perhaps because they feel that their porn habit takes care of those needs.
Benji, you have the floor, sir. We know you got something to say.
So the first part, I think, before I go in on him, I think he confirms the whole like 7,500 swipes essentially before you have a meaningful conversation. Well, did he conversation or even connect? Yeah, conversation, right? And let alone that's not even you might even not even meet in person, right? And like that's true. But then the problem where I have with his disingenuousness is the ones that are doing the 7,500 swipes, they're doing it out of it is like the thing is like my big problem with him is he undercuts his statement by not saying who he believes the problem is, which is men. Where he believes men are swiping endlessly. They're looking for instant gratification. They're looking for a good smash. They're looking for a good lay. They're not looking for commitment. They're not looking for responsibility. And if they aren't hooking up, if they're not doing that, they're in their mom's basement jacking off, watching porn. I mean, did I misinterpret his basic assertion there?
It definitely had the tone of like passively saying that men are maybe more of the issue or something. But I think it's like also the point has to be made is like, who are dating apps for? Like who are they really built for? Are they built for both men and women? Are they just built for women? Are they just built for men? I mean, I think that's an important topic too, because I mean, we'll use Bumble as an example, right? Like
That's built
their
for
whole
women.
premise. Yeah, dating app built for women.
Yeah.
And when you really look at the architecture of all the apps, it's really the same thing, right?
It's built
like,
for men too. I'm gonna have to say it's built for men too. If you don't got the balls to go and ask somebody, the dating online dating will be your only resort of leads of
it
women.
might. I think for me, it's built for both people, but who's the decision maker?
Both.
Do you think there's a difference between? You think both people? Okay.
Yeah, it depends on the app.
I mean,
obviously. If
based
something's
on
Bumble, you got no choice as a man. Like your choice is like swiping, and then even if she likes you, you'd hope you'd hope she freaking sends you a message. You know what I mean? Like it's like Bumble. That's a different story. But I'm talking about like different apps. Yeah. It's a numbers game. We're gonna go back to that numbers game. Like the more messages you're gonna send, the more somebody's gonna see them. the more likelihood of you, okay, oh yeah, hey, we got match or whatever. So it's made for both. But back to your point, you're talking about like, okay, we have to think about who is it made for. You're saying mostly women. Okay, then.
Oh, I was just like, I don't know. I mean, if I go based on our point earlier about us swiping and not sending a message, then like it's also built for us in some capacity because we can also be the decision maker in some instances. But I think, and I'm not going to steal all of Ben's thunder. I know that we talk about women nature and woman nature a lot on here, and just the differences between men and women. That we talk about, women are more pickier, make the data make sense. Men are, we're less picky, really, when you compare men versus women, and so those kind of stats make sense. But to who's to blame, I don't know. It's an interesting question. Who's to blame that only 10% of people are finding relationships on these apps?
What's your thoughts, Benji?
So there was a part that I wanted to push back. I don't believe both are selecting. I believe the selection is heavily on one-sided. If we want to argue that there is any selection on the male, I'm not gonna argue that there isn't. But I will push back.
Wait, dog. Yeah,
not,
but like, I mean,
like,
go,
it's
go.
not like,
I'm not going to interrupt.
I'm not like the notion that there is selection on both sides. There's equal level of selection on both sides. I believe that's disingenuous on this premise that, again, the data sets show that, and we could say, oh, it's online dating. We can push that to the side. It's not real life, right? But again, like what real world is showing in this new world data is that we are meeting online. Like we can be like, oh, like that's only online people, but the world is actually moving to an online space, right? Like in terms of even human interaction. Like as much as I'm with you, like as much as I want in person, I want to have friend circles, I want to go to a restaurant and meet people. Like more of that kind of dynamic is becoming rare. It's a rare era in terms of having those types of social circles available. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Not too long ago, I went to like a friend's birthday recently, and then like that was a bunch of new people, met a bunch of new people, networked and whatnot. I'm not saying there isn't a space for that, but if we want to call it a niche in terms of like couples, heterosexuals, dating and trying to figure that out for a long term, short term, hooking up or whatnot, even that is now transitioning into more of a online kind of space. And so like the part, like that's where I say, like if there is any selection that is on the men that is selecting, it's only the top echelons of the ones that are quote unquote that are attractive. Like if we want to say that,
but hold on, but like once you say like like swiping, isn't that part of your selection too, or no?
No, I'm not. But again, but like that's like I'm not discounting what I do in my life, but it's also the data sets of like I'll be honest, like I probably will be in the 80% that is found unattractive, that is swiping right. I might be on the topper echelons of the more unattractive people that might be liked by the other female sex. I'm not at a place where I'm so thirsty where I'll be like, yeah, you. But I agree with you. There is men don't have an attraction floor.
But same thing for women though. Like, do you believe there are women that are like, no, like I feel like they're more of at a disadvantage in that case, because honestly, like, at least like you can go approach a woman, you can go talk to somebody, what. Meanwhile, like for a woman, her beauty, all right, like if she's not putting together like a good profile, you're out, dude. Like there's literally, don't you feel like that's the deciding factor for men? Like they make the choice first, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then that doesn't mean that they have no choice in this online dating game.
Well, no. So I guess we're getting to the conversation of whether I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. I mean, like, I do understand, like, there's a level of difficulty, right? In terms of I will recognize the challenges, right? In terms of you gotta convey your beauty in a way that is like you're peacocky. You're showing, hey, I am mateable, I'm fertile, I'm feminine, right? But, like, we can have a conversation of right or wrong, but I'm more speaking on the evolutionary psychology of how that's just innate. Like, woman is, men have to become. Men become, woman is just are. And so, like, on that premise, yeah, like, they are asked to just be and show out what there is. And, like, in modern world, that might seem, oh, like, women they're not only their physical makeup. And, like, we can talk about, social conventions and how that has, changed, but that doesn't negate, natural evolutionary psychology, how we interact, the intersexual dynamics between male and female. Like, we are going to become, they just are.
Yeah.
And so, no, I agree. Like, I will agree. Like, that it is challenging. Like, they have to do a certain different part that men don't have to. And, it is like, if we want to say that their own pool per se is dictated by the people that, like them only or pursue them only. I recently saw a TikTok video of this really, really attractive girl saying how, let me tell you why it's unfair between a man and woman in a relationship, because men pursue and women have to be pursued, and women can only choose from the pool that they can, that's pursuing approaching them. But the fallacy, in that one particular video is she is at the epiphany. She's at the wall. She's at the place where she's realizing the people that are pursuing her are no longer of the caliber that used to pursue her when she was in her 23, 22, 21. She is now being judgmental of the types of gentlemen that are pursuing her because they're no longer the caliber of the men that she used to attract to. And now she's saying, oh, hey, I have to pick up the litter. The pick of the litter is trash. And she's speaking to that. And we spoke about this in the last episode of how women's mating stages move, right? It's a fluid. And the thing is, I'm not negating that. Like, I understand it's fluid, but we as men, we're supposed to be receptive of that. Like, you go through your whole phase, and when I turn 30, I think we had this exchange in our chat as well. Men become ripe or become of attractive level when they're post 30, when they start acquiring, right? And so we're educating men. Be responsible, do your crap, do the work, right? But for what? For the girl that did her whole phase, and then she's now ready to had her epiphany, found Jesus. Oh, I am forgiven. And now you have a beta male you're expecting the male to take her in, which is like a use. I mean, again, this is, we're just putting we're just saying as it is. You're now utilizing a used car at that level. And so it's like, again, there's a little disconnect, or like, I understand the challenges, but for that specific girl, like, she's a little bit disingenuous in terms of when she's communicating that, oh, like, the pick of the litter is little trash.